Today is going to be our first video on solving quadratic equations. So we're going to start off with the quadratic form ax squared plus bx plus c. Our first example is going to be x squared plus 2x minus 8. So looking at the equation at the top, ax squared plus bx plus c, we can see that a equals 1, b equals 2, and c equals minus 8. So when you are factorising a quadratic equation, you need to find two numbers that multiply to give you c, but add together or subtract to give you b. When I say c and b, I'm referring to the form ax squared plus bx plus c. So using this example, b is 2 and c is minus 8. So the first thing I'm going to do is find factors of 8. I have 1 and 8 and 2 and 4. 1 times 8 gives you 8. However, we're looking for minus 8. So I'm going to change that to minus 1 times 8 does give you minus 8. However, minus 1 plus 8 does not give you 2. Let's try 2 and 4. 2 and 4 give you 8. However, same thing again, we're looking for minus 8. So we'll try minus 2 multiplied by 4 gives you minus 8. And minus 2 plus 4 gives you 2. Therefore, we found our two numbers. You put these two numbers into brackets with x. So your first bracket will be x minus 2. Your second bracket will be x plus 4. So if the question asks you to factorize, you finished. However, the question would ask you to solve, since this video is on solving quadratic equations. So this would mean that ax squared plus bx plus c would equal 0. Therefore, x squared plus 2x minus 8 equals 0. Also, your brackets x minus 2 and x plus 4 equals 0. So what you would have to do differently is once you have finished factorising, you will take both your brackets and make them equal to 0. So x minus 2 equals 0 and x plus 4 equals 0. The only thing left to do now is to solve both of these equations to have x on its own. So x equals 2 and x equals minus 4. Now let's try another example. X squared minus 10x plus 24 equals 0. My two factors that multiply to give me 24 are minus 6 and minus 4. The reason why they are negative because these two factors also need to add to give me minus 10. So if you put them into brackets, x minus 6, x minus 4 equals 0. This is then solved to give me x equals 6 and x equals 4. Leave a comment below if you need a video on how to solve equations. Now I'm going to expand both my brackets to show you why I need to have x in both brackets. Expanding is when you multiply the brackets together. So once I have finished multiplying each term from each bracket with each other, I should be left with the equation that I had in the first place. So x times by x is x squared, x times by minus 4 is minus 4x, minus 6 multiplied by x gives you minus 6x, and minus 6 multiplied by minus 4 gives you 24. Now I can collect my like terms in order to simplify this. Minus 4x minus 6x gives you minus 10x. So our final equation is x squared minus 10x plus 24 equals 0. Since this is the same equation that we had at the beginning of the question, we can be sure that we found the correct factors and therefore solved our equation correctly. This is the end of our video.